Hi guys, my name is Yvonne Villarreal. I'm a reporter at the Los Angeles Times. Joining me today is Dan Bucatinsky, who plays reporter turned stay-at-home dad on ABC's hit drama Scandal. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I kind of want to do like a web therapy session at the same time. I know you're an executive producer. Should I just pretend I'm Fiona and you can just give me your neurotic problems?
Sure. Although, do I play Jerome, who I play on the show, or I'll just be myself?
I want you to be yourself because I
Okay.
feel like being an actor on Scandal presents a whole bunch of different issues for you. What's going on, Dan?
Well, relationships are hard, and juggling marriage and a career and a baby and the potential demise of the administration, and these are tough things for any relationship to juggle. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and the writers are great on the show, and we've had an amazing season, and we're looking forward to a great third season.
For having arguments naked with
Well,
Cyrus.
yeah, that was a shocker. I mean, I didn't know about, none of us knew about that until were at the table read and we opened up the script, and there it was in black and white, a 5.5 page fight scene where we had to take off all of our clothes. And
Strip
I,
poker?
yeah, kind of, and it was just a really interesting poker match of proving to each other that we're not wearing a wire, and a really well written scene, and scary, really scary. Probably the scariest thing I've had to do as an actor so far. And
Yeah,
thank you.
that would be terrifying.
Oh, people are like saying things, and I can read it.
Yeah,
Well,
tuning in.
it was a that was a tough one. And in fact, a funny little known fact about that, we shot that scene last. It was the last day of shooting of that whole episode, and it gave me 11 days to eat nothing, to only be on a juice fast, so that I could, take off my clothes and not feel completely mortified. But Kerry Washington got the art department to make these posters that were like selling tickets to a wrestling match. And at the end of the season, she put them all over the set. They sold tickets to this event. It was called the Bare Naked Brawl, and I made mugs of them, and this is what the mug looks like. Um,
Oh
Bare Naked
my
Brawl. There's
gosh.
James Novak, and then they have got versus Cyrus, the animal being, and it was literally a big, she was selling tickets to the event. I was so mortified, but it was so funny that these existed all over the set that I made mugs of them. We should auction this
Right?
off. You should give us
You
some
would
lucky
make so
winner.
much money off of that.
All right, well,
You would
this
make
one,
so much money off of that.
I don't need, it's not for me. We can auction this off for charity or something. It's fine with me.
Sort of talk about the role of James Novak. It largely mirrors your own, except, you're not obsessed with this defiance thing in your own marriage, but you're a father of two living with your husband in LA. Sort of talk about, the parallels that you share with James and the differences with James.
Well, I'm very connected to the character. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of similarities. As like you were saying, I'm in a long-term marriage with my spouse. We have two small kids. We adopted, and I'm also really passionate about my work as a writer. So the fact that James is a writer and passionate about being a dad and in a marriage, and there was a lot of similarities and a lot of things that I got to draw from in my own life that made playing James so satisfying. But there's something about the way, the heightened world that Scandal lives in, a world where when your husband calls off the hit on you, it's the most romantic gesture, since Valentine's Day. Um, it's exciting to think about there being something kind of very grounded about the marriage. They fight about the things that real married couples fight over. One of them wants a kid, the other one is not ready yet. They're going to negotiate that, and then going back to work becomes an issue, and balancing work and family. All those are really relatable issues, and I think people love the Cyrus James relationship because it's tumultuous. They fight. They leave no holds barred. Obviously, Cyrus is, you know, knows how to fight. Um, But I love the fact that the stakes are so high. I love the fact that James, as badly as he wants to be a father, also wants to be an award-winning, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, and is almost willing to do anything. That is what I think is what makes Scandal such an addictive, such a great, dramatic, high-stakes show. Is that every character in the show is willing to do whatever they have to do to get what they want. And I think living in a world where people are willing to go off a cliff for whatever they want and whatever they need and whatever they love is makes it really exciting. And it's the same thing with James. Thank you,
Well, and
Pia.
it's also interesting. I mean, did you ever think though, like, growing up that you'd be, playing, that you yourself would be an out gay man, but also playing one on TV?
I don't know. I listen. I when I came to LA, I was closeted, afraid. I would audition for roles and be nervous about people finding out the truth about me. And it was a different time. It was a different time in the business. And it was a different time in my life. I was in my 20s. I'd had a childhood with a lot of bullying and a lot of shame. And I don't think in a million years, I would have imagined that I would grow into, 20 years later and be in a marriage, thankfully legally now. Thank you to the Supreme Court. Um, and to be on top of that, playing that on television on a show like Scandal, where there are no closets, where there is no agenda, where people are just who they are and they want what they want and they talk about it and they fight about it and it's the show's about the drama. It's not about fighting for the right to be able to speak or to get married or to have a child or to have a family. It's much more internal, and it makes it much more grounded. It makes people root for a marriage who, by the way, is so dysfunctional in a way. But I never imagined I would be not just an out actor, but an out actor playing a gay character who's married and has a family, and then to get the recognition of the Academy on top of that for it is really it's like a pinch me kind of moment. I just never imagined. I just never imagined it could be like this. Like this.
Mhm. Well, and I mean, talk about what Shonda Rhimes brings to these sorts of characters. I mean, you played a part of a gay couple on Grey's Anatomy as well. Talk about what she brings in terms of the writing
Well, listen,
to these characters.
right. I'm on. I obviously I also am a writer producer on Grey's Anatomy, so I'm certainly partial. But I know that what Shonda brings to the shows that she creates, and it was true of Private Practice, and it's true of Grey's Anatomy, and it's certainly true of Scandal, is a representation of, in a way, of everybody and of everything. Like, you know, there was a time when just the very fact that there was a couple that were both men, that in and of itself was a reason enough to dramatize somebody. But Shonda writes in a world that is sort of a level playing field, where a married couple where they both happen to be men, the issue, the emotional connection and the conflict and the challenges that they have are so much deeper and so much more complicated because even in that script in Grey's Anatomy, I played the husband of an opera singer who didn't want to live if he couldn't sing. And his spouse felt like, well, you wouldn't even stay alive for me. I mean, that's an issue that's a dramatic, emotionally fraught situation that would impact any couple, gay, straight, male, female. So it's this leveling of the playing field that I think Shonda has done in television that no one else has done quite to the extent that she has, that I find almost subversive in the best of ways. So she's certainly done it with Scandal, and I feel the same on Grey's Anatomy. The people are just who they are, and they love who they love, and their problems and their issues and their ambition is separate from that.
And I mean, what's going to happen with Cyrus and James? I mean, it was a crazy season, like you said. Cyrus had a hit on him. And with all this Defiance stuff coming to light and now the affair coming to light, I mean, was Cyrus the one that tipped off the media about Olivia,
Well,
or was
I
it
can't say. I can tell you this. I can tell you that I'm gonna tease out a little bit of the beginning of season 3 right now. Here it goes. Ready? Season 3, the premiere will take place just 22 minutes after the end of the finale of season 2. And the episode will explore who leaked the information about Olivia Pope. It will be about putting out that fire. I think you will see Cyrus and James will be where we left them in a sense in terms of what their relationship is. I think that the juggling act of work and home and the relationship and family is going to continue to be a challenge. I think the relationship will continue to be challenged in the new season. But one thing that we can look forward to is finding out who leaked the information about Olivia Pope and how and what lengths the White House, Cyrus, Mellie, the president are willing to go to plug the holes in in the ship. It's very exciting. Exciting.
Well, the show makes a lot of uses of flashbacks. Are we going to see any of that with the James and Cyrus relationship? We have a reader question. It sort of is to this point, but are we going to see more of the James character this season?
Hard for me to know. The plan is yes. I certainly hope so. I will appear in the season premiere. That's all I've shot so far. Um, there is going to be more of the James Cyrus relationship in season 3 for sure. Whether we flash back in time to their relationship, I have no idea. I mean, we get these scripts right when they're done, and we read them together. It's almost like a religious experience when the cast gets together and have these table reads. Most of the time, it's the first time any of us have read the scripts. So we don't really know what the long term is or what the plan is, but every script amazes. It has never failed to amaze us and surprise us at being able to maintain that level of sort of what I call sort of the hand to mouth gasp factor. Um, all of them are that way, and we will learn a lot more about Olivia and her father in the new season. If people have wondered about her and where she came from and what her relationship is like with her dad, that's going to be explored. So I'd like to hope that we'll also get to learn more about what makes that James and Cyrus relationship tick.
Cyrus out or Cyrus asked James out?
Can you say that one more time?
Who do you think asked who out? Did James ask Cyrus out or was it vice versa?
Good question. You know what? When you see the flashback to the campaign in season 1, you certainly know that we meet on that. I was covering the campaign for Fitz, obviously a Democrat, younger, and Cyrus is a little bit more closeted. I have a feeling that James did a lot of the heavy flirting that made Cyrus feel like it was safe to ask me out, but I think I ultimately let Cyrus make the first move, so to speak.
Good for you. Good for you. How about what is the most, I mean, people go crazy for this show, like crazy.
Yes.
We were talking earlier about the finale and, Twitter and all that went with that. What is the most common thing people yell at you on the street?
Well, it changes. Around the time that James was sort of poking the bear and finding out about Defiance and questioning and going to Ohio to investigate, I was getting a lot of people telling me to leave well enough alone. Leave it alone. Don't don't go digging. No one's asked you. It was very funny. James wasn't making anything up and wasn't committing any crimes, but I think people wanted they wanted James to knock it off and not to rock the boat, especially with someone as dangerous as Cyrus. And then after an episode near the end of the season where Cyrus is particularly harsh with James, he's James has started being an on-camera reporter and an on-camera correspondent, and Cyrus, if you remember, is furious with him for having that interview with Mellie. He says some really mean things, and it really cuts to the bone. And a lot of people after that were like treating me like a battered wife. You got to leave him. You got to leave him. He is mean to you. So, I like it. I like it. I just like the level of investment. Bottom line is whether the show pisses you off or scares you or excites you, whatever it is, it just keeps people engaged, and I think Twitter helps that too. Somebody is asking me, let's see. Someone just asked me one thing. The Emmys are on my birthday. How does that make me feel? Well, the nomination was an early birthday present, no matter what. So I feel
Mhm.
completely like a, like a winner just having been nominated. That was so random and exciting, and I feel very grateful about that. Um, Obviously, if
How did
there's
you
a,
celebrate?
say it again.
How did you celebrate? I mean, like, because it's you and Carrie, did you guys go out have a drink? Like, what happened? You guys were
Yeah,
shooting that day, right?
we weren't shooting. That was the day of the first table read. It was the same day as the first table read for the first script. So it was one day before we started shooting. Carrie and I met at the studios where we shoot Scandal, and we did a bunch of press together. Um,
Mhm.
Access Hollywood offered up some champagne, and we definitely had our, and I hadn't seen Carrie over the break, so it was the first chance we had to hug it out and congratulate each other. And I congratulated her for her recent wedding. It was really really nice. And then I took a bunch of people I work with out to lunch, and it was really nice. It was a really magical day. Everybody on the set of Grey's Anatomy was really supportive, and Ellen Pompeo offered to take me out for my own Pretty Woman shopping shop for the Emmys day. So I'm waiting to schedule that with her.
Can I get in on that, please?
Talk about selling tickets to an event. I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go. TJ Maxx, I think.
Well, we have another reader asking, I mean, you're involved in various projects. How do you balance your time? I mean, you're an author, you're an executive producer, a writer, an actor.
Um, Hold on. I'm not. I mean, I just have a bunch of things. There's a lot of clutter in my office, and I just have to clear it out of the way. Almost everything that's available on Amazon. Yeah. No, I feel very fortunate to. I feel very fortunate. Skype for Dummies. That's good. No, web therapy has been a passion project. Lisa Kudrow and I have had a company now for 10 years called Is or Isn't Entertainment, and we produce web therapy, and we produce a show called Who Do You Think You Are, which just started on TLC again after
Right.
after 3 seasons on NBC. Um, each of those shows, each of those projects has been sort of on its own track, and for the most part, being a dad and writing my book and being on Scandal and being at Grey's a couple of times a week. I'm a consultant. I've been able to manage the different trains on the tracks at different times. This year, they've all sort
Mhm.
of converged, and it was a little trickier to handle. But I feel very fortunate, and that I've always liked multitasking, and so I take every day one moment at a time. I just get to the end of the day, and I see what the next day has to bring. And obviously, being a dad is my favorite role, so I try to get home every night in time to wrestle with the kids and do homework with them and bath time and bedtime. So that's obviously it's a cliche, but it really is the most grounding part of a very frenetic day.
Right, right. Well, we also have people wanting to know what's it like working with Shonda, but I'm equally interested to know what's it like working with Lisa, because I would imagine they're two different types of personalities. What are their work styles like?
It's not a coincidence, I think, that I'm attracted to extremely talented, strong point of view, inspiring women. Lisa is an unbelievably smart, funny, sensitive, razor sharp, focused person, and we really balance each other out in the work that we do together. We're very good friends, but we've also been able to produce these shows and work well together over the years. I also love acting with her. She cracks me up like nobody can. And Shonda, it's interesting. We I was on Grey's Anatomy, and we then got cast in Scandal, and we really bonded when I was writing my book and talking about my adoption journey. We really bonded over that. Shonda's a very outspoken advocate for family rights and for adoption. She adopted her 2 children, and we really connected over what inspired us to adopt and how strongly we feel about adoption rights and inspiring others to grow their families any way they can. And
Mhm.
so I love Shonda as someone that I not only admire as someone who has a mind unlike any other television creator I've met. She's able to come up with a scene that says so much in just a very short amount of time. I find it very inspiring. So I feel very lucky to be able to work with her. But also as a friend, she's somebody who's undergone a journey very similar to mine. So we have that in common. But
Well,
she's great.
Well, and originally you had auditioned for Huck, right? Can you imagine how that would have turned out? Seeing like as you're watching where his story has gone, are you like, holy crap?
Um, yeah, I mean, I listen. The speech that the audition speech for Huck was so amazing and so fun to learn. I knew I wasn't right for that part, but it was such a great opportunity to go perform that for Shonda and for Linda Lowy, the casting director, and who happens to be Jeff Perry, my on-screen husband's real life wife. Um, we I knew that that wasn't the part for me, but it was a great opportunity to perform some amazing material. And it was at that audition that I think afterwards, word got back to me that that wasn't going to be my part, and I kind of knew that anyway.
Mhm.
But that they were going to try to find something for me, and I think as time went on, there was an opportunity to play Cyrus's husband and to sort of surprise the audience that that was just a fact of their lives. And I think the way in which they
Mhm.
introduced James to the show was oddly subversive in its own way. That it's almost like everybody knew except the audience, and we were just keying them in at the last minute. I think it's a great way to do that. Um, but yeah, it would have been a different show, I think, if I had been Huck.
People want to see the audition tape, apparently.
I know I have to ask Linda if that exists.
Well, and I had got a question on Twitter asking if we'll ever see any of the Scandal cast drop by Web Therapy or uh, Who Do You Think You Are?
Good question. Well, I certainly there's an open invitation. There's an open invitation for them to join us at Web Therapy, which is a lot of fun to shoot. We improvise most of it. And Who Do You Think You Are is a little trickier because it involves a lot of research. Um, but when I'm on set of either one of them, I of course am always trying to get my Scandal buddies to come on to my other shows. So let's fingers crossed.
Who has surprised you the most on Web Therapy? Because that's like a true art to be on that show because it's so funny.
I don't. Everybody in their own right has been somewhat inspiring or surprising in the way in which they improvise or how they approach improvising with Lisa. Minnie Driver, joined us in season 2 and wanted to wear this wig and had a really good idea for this character that embellished what we already had. She was wonderful to work with and really funny. But so was Molly Shannon and so was Meg Ryan this season. Meg Ryan plays a hoarder and will come up next week on Web Therapy in a way like you've never seen her before. She plays a happy hoarder. Um, and Sarah Gilbert will be in this season, and you see her in a way that you've never seen her before. Like I think people want to do the show because they get to portray a color that they normally don't get to do, and I think that that's part of the fun of being on the show. So that's why I love to bring up people that are sort of surprising out of left field, and mix them up. um, Billy Crystal will be in later this season as well, and he's hilarious. Um, and Lily Tomlin, I think, has been the most exciting because she shows up with so much. She's done so much work. It's really fun. Um, let's see if I can. Uh, Teddy and Ella.
We have one person.
Do I think there'll ever be a play date between Ella and Teddy? I hope so. I hope so. That would be fun. That would be a fun play date with me and Melly and a bunch of Secret Service around these two kids. That would be fun.
That would be awesome. We have Jenny asking, do you have any other upcoming projects they should keep a lookout?
Uh,
Are you going to write another book?
I don't know. I don't know. There's no time right now. I have another project that I'm working on right now that I can't talk about, but I'm hoping to do it with Shonda's company. But it's
Okay.
it's in a very early stage, so I can't really talk about it. But I am hoping to sort of merge a lot of the things I've done in the past and keep it in the family and we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Is does that mean it's a spinoff, a Scandal spinoff?
Wouldn't that be good?
Maybe.
That's not my call. That's not my call. But that would be fun. A sitcom about James and Cyrus on the playground. I don't know. No, no, no. I've been writing television pilots for about 10 years now, and since being on Grey's Anatomy last season, I didn't last year, and this year I think I want to try to write something original for TV. Uh, having taken a year off, and so I've got a couple of ideas knocked around. So if I sell them, you'll hear about them.
Okay. How about, I mean, what are you DVRing? This show is like something that people watch in real time, but I imagine you don't have time to
Yeah.
watch stuff live. Is there shows that you keep logged on your DVR?
You know, I really enjoyed watching The Killing this season. I found it, and probably in a lot of the ways that people love Scandal, I found it really, it's a much slower paced show. Like Scandal is whipping fast. The Killing was a much slower show, but had just the same kind of gasp-worthy moments throughout the whole season. So I highly recommend that. I did enjoy House of Cards. I am watching Newsroom. And you know, like a lot of people, I watch Modern Family. I enjoy that, and Parks and Recreation. But I also have guilty pleasures like Project Runway and Top Chef. Always love Top Chef. See what people are cooking. And I'll even I even dabble in the Housewives every once in a while just to see what
Look
real life.
at you.
Why not?
Which one's your favorite?
I think New Jersey because they're so damaged and they're so broken and so and it's such a family, there's so many family issues that
Yeah,
uh that there's so much emotion there behind the surface, behind all that makeup that
right.
that one really grabs me. I find it fascinating, and it's a show where you just want to throttle people, and I think that's part of the fun of watching it. That's not nice
We
to
have
say.
someone asking if you watched Orange is the New Black.
You know, I
Have you
have it
gone
on
there yet?
I have it on my queue. I watched the pilot, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of them. I hear good things about it.
Mhm. How about, I mean, you mentioned that you watched the newsroom, which got me thinking, how do you think, I mean, do you think James would fit right into that world?
Yeah, I think James is an aggressive, ruthless, and very ambitious journalist who's now willing to be a correspondent. And I think that he would love to be thrown in the middle of that kind of network news daily energy.
Right.
I think it would take him away from the family. I think he would realize very quickly that he would miss his kid. Um, but
Right.
it would be interesting to see what would happen with if he got that much work and was thrown into an environment like that. But we'll see.
Mhm. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. And I was hoping, a lot was made about the way Kerry Washington said that last word at the end of the season, Dad. I
Mhm.
want to get how you would do that scene.
Dad, I think I'd probably be like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here? And how come you missed my last four birthdays?" If he did, you know. Yeah, no, that's a great, what a great way to end a season with one word that is so surprising. And the only person in the entire cast who knew that he was her father was Joe Morton himself. And I think that's
Whoa.
that just even keeping that secret amongst all of us was an amazing thing. Really fun.
Right. Well, we're all looking forward to the new season. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and I'll try to keep answering questions on Twitter if people want to keep asking.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.